Welcome to the Peak Podcast. My name is Kyle Nelson. As always, got my good buddy here, my good business partner, overall good dude.
Thank you.
Mr. Eli Libby. What's going on, my man?
Today's a great day. Today's a great day. There's small little micro wins I talked about a little bit before we sat down.
Why don't you share with everyone a couple micro wins today?
Absolutely. So I threw a tinfoil away, a wrapper, and threw it left-handed into the trash can. Nailed it.
And you were probably good 10 yards.
So that's just, these small wins I think are so powerful. I just think it's cool to just enjoy.
If you can
small
see
moments.
that in life, if like that's how dialed in, right? It's like, and then if you have a bad day, you still can make that left-handed tinfoil.
Exactly. And I snapped and pointed the camera. And the camera.
That was cool. That was
fun. It's just these small things. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
life's too short not to just acknowledge the small fun moments.
Hey man, I agree. Well, if you haven't visited us before, this is the Peak Podcast, where we interview and have just conversations with other coaches, business owners, and entrepreneurs to understand what that peak moment was in their life. To really, what was the transformational time into what they're doing today. So really good combos with that. And if you haven't known, we are the co-founders of Peak Fulfillment. We do self-guided solo retreats for people that are really looking for some more clarity in life, do a little self-reflection, self-discovery, a little vision crafting, and get your mind aligned with where you need to head in life. We have a really cool guest today. We were just having a good conversation with her. That is Kristen Bomas. She's a clinical psychotherapist by accident, teacher and student of many disciplines by trade, author, and speaker by choice. Now let's get to the good stuff about her first. For over 30 years, she's invited brave people, wrestlers of fear, to wander out on the fringe with her. Her fringe is being a combination of clinical psychology, Buddhism, the Tao, and indigenous shamanic practices. I probably chopped that, to name just a few. Humanity's collective wisdom takes many forms, and it's into this wilderness of knowledge that she has people go with her. So without further ado, let's bring on Kristen. Kristen, what's going on?
Not much and everything. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
We're doing great. Thanks for asking.
Fantastic.
I love the intro. Very tongue-in-cheek.
It is fun.
And I liked every little part of it.
It's not robotic.
No, it's not at
I
all.
am a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
No. Life's too short for this.
I love the first part here. I'm just going to kind of dive into the intro because my favorite part of that intro was something about fear. Wrestlers of fear and wander out on this fringe with me.
Ooh, so good.
Walk us through, what does that mean? And when you guys were writing that, tell us what you were thinking and trying to get down.
Well, we live this life in order to master our fears. And free will says we're going to master a few, none, all, whatever. I don't know about all of it. And so in order to do that, you've got to be really willing to step out on that edge, to step out on that fringe and to say, okay, where do I go next? And what is that all about? So as we were, reviewing my life and my teachings, that was kind of the way we put it all together. And move beyond. Let's do it.
Let's go.
We're all wrestlers of fear, right?
Yes, we are.
Taking that next step to pin it down on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Put it in the headlock.
Chris, as we kick off, give everybody in a couple sentences or a couple minutes here what you're working on today and kind of why you're so passionate about it.
Oh, wow. I'm working today. I've had a private practice for a very long time. And today I'm working to get a lot of my teachings out online with courses that are both online as well as live, doing more public speaking. So everybody can learn that we can move beyond our fears and have great freedom and love in this lifetime. That is available to each and every one of us if you're willing to go out on the fringe. And so I am really willing to put things out there that are more affordable. People can meet like-minded people that way. So that's where I'm headed. Why am I passionate? I practice what I teach. And I have been doing this for so long. I've watched people actually make their dreams come true through it. So being able to offer it to the many instead of the few means that we'll make a change on this earth if we all start to live beyond our fears, right?
Oh, gosh. I love that, Kristen. Real question for the two of you. When you hear the word fringe, what is the visualization that hits you in the front of your mind? When you hear the word fringe and like walking out on the fringe, like we've talked about and mentioned multiple times, what is the first thing that pops into your mind? Kristen, what about you first?
A cliff's edge.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the fringe. Mm-hmm. It's about, you've got to pretty much two two directions, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
either turn around or just go for the step and see if it works out for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. There's a spot that my wife and I honeymooned. We had our honeymoon last year, and we went to the Dolomites in northern Italy. And there's this really, really epic spot that is literally like this point that you like walk up on the fringe, and you are in the middle of the Dolomite, like this like cathedral of mountains. But you walk up on this little tiny point, and left is death, right is death, forward's death, and you've got this like little wiggle spot. That is the fringe, and like walking out on that.
That's cool.
But that's where my head went. I'm sorry.
That might have to go on my bucket list.
Yeah, I'll send you some photos of it. If you
That is really wonderful.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So,
Did
Chris,
you feel your fear as you looked forward, left, and right?
What's that?
Did you feel fear when you looked forward, left, and right?
I felt fear. Not necessarily. I love the adrenaline stuff.
Mhm.
But I did feel it. I felt a little bit like, to be honest, a little bit of like equilibrium being off, like shooting photos on the top.
Uh-huh.
I was like in the camera, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, that's probably a bad idea. Let's just enjoy the moment. Let's be here, be present,
agree.
intentional, and let's snapshot that in the memory.
Let somebody else take the pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So let's back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing the current work you're working on right now?
Ooh, well, it depends upon where you want to draw the line in the sand. I've been doing what I do. Let's see, my private practice was in 95. We probably hit the ceiling of psychology in 97, 98. So if we want to go back there, I've been practicing what I'm teaching since then. I have been actively pursuing getting into this online mode with the speaking and the workshops for about 4 to 5 years.
Okay. And as we kind of, talk about those kind of moments here, what was the year before like for you when you kind of first got into this work? What was going through your life? What was the transition on why you do what you do?
On this new online part, you mean?
Yeah.
I was noticing that thought started way back in probably 10 or 11 when I was really in a place where I realized that only a few people could afford me, right? And I could only do, 40 people max a week, which is still a lot, probably about 35. And so social media started to happen. We started to interact on social media, and on social media, people were really receptive and they were going back and forth, and I loved it. I loved being able to just let people talk back and forth among themselves and just, spur them on with little comments and help, and then just let them kind of grow. And that really started our ideas. And then about, 4 or 5 years ago, we started putting in the effort to make it into something with definition. So it's really been, it's been an interesting morphing of energy and ideas and things coming together.
Yeah. Is there any, maybe back to 97 or when you first got started with this, was there any fears in place in getting into this kind of work, limited beliefs or doubts that kind of maybe
doubts? Yeah, let's talk about, that's pretty interesting. So I was trained as an analyst. And so when you're an analyst and you're practicing, you have to also be in analysis. You're not allowed to not, which was one of the reasons why I loved it. And so all of a sudden I found my clients and I were hitting the ceiling of psychology. The questions were changing. Psych couldn't answer them. Psych didn't know what to do to get you there. And all of a sudden things started to switch. And as it switched, I started drawing pictures for my clients to explain the simplicity of life. And I was wondering in myself, every time I would answer these questions and draw these pictures, I was like, well, how do I know this is right? Like, where is this coming from? Like, this is ballsy, right? And I kept doing it and I kept doing it and I kept doing it and it kept working. And everybody was identifying with it and everybody was using it and everybody was changing. Slowly, those thoughts, that wisdom that was coming from my core came together to create the SAGES template, which is the template I use today to teach mastery or conscious enlightenment. I like to say conscious journey to enlightenment. But yes, the doubt, if I can't even begin to tell you at that stage, because I wasn't tapping into the wisdom, the shamanic studies that I've had It's all about reaching your wisdom because that's a universal spot. But at the time, I didn't know about that. So the truths that were coming to the surface felt like, gosh, should I be looking up the scientific research? Like, where is this coming from? I don't understand. But it was resonating with everybody.
Yeah.
So I went with it because it was healing. And then slowly I realized what I had tapped into. And then the doubts there shifted. So, yeah.
Wow. That's very cool. Thanks for sharing that. I think that resonates a ton with our audience. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I have a question. I've been asking this more frequently on podcasts, but what are you most proud about with your program? I'm always curious about that in terms of, from your perspective, what are you most proud about?
Oh, that's a tough one. I guess, can I give you two?
Please.
One is the Sage's template, but I really do think that was more beyond me. But my ability, as I'm told, to really clearly describe, define, enunciate life, right? Like, so that people get it. Like, the most complicated and complex pieces of life become so clear to them. And so I don't know where that comes from in me, but I'm so grateful that I'm able to offer that forward. And I think that's probably.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Is there a common theme or consistency around the theme of complexity in life? Is there something that you hear most often, whether it's, I don't know, like a divorce, or whether it's bringing, a child into the world? Like, is there a complexity that you hear more and more that you bring clarity to that individual?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I guess if I was going to say there anything, it's people are really curious as to how to find greater happiness than what they have. Like, most of my clients are very successful in their physical life, but they don't understand why their happiness isn't more fulfilling and more joyous. Or their relationships may not also be as happy and fulfilling as they could be. And so I think if I was going to say there's something consistent, it's more along those lines, because that's where it does get complex. People think that happiness is buying the next car or the next house or the next whatever. And it's not. Those are temporary bouts of a feeling, but they don't bring sustaining joy into life. And they want that. And they know they want that by instinct, but they don't know how to get there. It feels very nebulous and vague.
Man, that's really, that's like the key to life. It's a holy grail.
It is.
You want a chocolate bar to life if you were to knock that out. And it's cool because, like I said, there's a lot of crossover between what we do and what you do.
Yeah.
And our company is called Peak Fulfillment.
Yeah.
And our goal is to bring clarity to people and have them kind of cut through the noise. We typically are working with entrepreneurs and high-level performers. But like you just said, they're not fulfilled. They might have all this stuff, but they're lacking clarity.
Yeah.
Right.
They need to kind of step back and like reground themselves or realign who they are and why they got into the work that they're doing. And is it purposeful? And ultimately, are they fulfilled?
Right.
And that's where I think the most proud part of our business is that.
Well, you guys start with a very quiet retreat, right? It's just a one-person retreat, so they have to go inward. And the secret in all of this is that we keep looking outward, and those external things that we're looking for are not your reality. The reality is going to be found inside you. So the more you can fall in love with yourself and find that soulful self that speaks to you through its joys, the more you're going to open up that life. But as long as you're looking outward, you're going to be limited, by that vision. It has to come from inside you. And once you start looking in, you hit the infinity of life, and you hit that wisdom and that love and that freedom and that acceptance that really does take you on a beautiful but wild toad ride. Yeah.
Tell us about the course you got coming up.
Well, we've got a course that we're going to launch. This one's called Clear the Clutter in Your Relationships. And we're starting with looking at communication. We speak in order to be known and understood. And yet nobody feels understood and heard in their relationships, and even in their relationship with themselves, right? So my style of teaching communication is very unique, and I very basically call it teach and explore communication, because you want to learn to speak only teaching about self.
Okay.
Like really getting to a place where you don't even use the word you, like no you, just me. And then explore the you. Always be in that exploration mode with them. So we're going to be opening up that opportunity in relationships, so people can see that it's in the way we communicate that we really clutter our relationships and our lives. If we can simplify that, we open doors to simplifying the rest of life, and now we open the doors to finding greater happiness and fulfillment.
Boom.
That's amazing.
That was a mic drop. That was
No
awesome.
kidding.
Kristen, that was amazing.
Kristen, as we kind of wrap this up, tell us one thing that you hope that our audience kind of walks away with. If there was one piece of knowledge or nugget, or maybe something actionable, whatever that may be.
Actionable. I could probably be better at this one, but I would love for everybody to know that if you embrace why fear is in this life, you can transcend it. Everybody can. Nothing, you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to suffer. It's there to move you forward if you ask how and why it's in your life. The judgment holds us back the worst. So actionable, I would say, don't be afraid of your fear. Don't push it down. If every day when you feel any sort of a fear-based emotion, whether it's fear or anger or hurt or sadness, loneliness, guilt, shame, whatever, if you take a moment and just say, okay, how long have I been feeling this? And from where did it come? And why is it in this life? It's got a purpose. When I master it, it opens many doors, if not gateways. So don't be afraid of it. Don't judge it. Don't lock it. Allow yourself to embrace it and ask what you can gain from it if you master it. What would life be if it wasn't there any longer?
I love that.
Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. If people wanted to connect with you, maybe take one of your courses or your mastery, membership, where would they head to?
KristenBomas.com, and that's probably the easiest. They can find me on all social media under Kristen Bomas, but KristenBomas.com has everything up to date.
Awesome. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. That was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you both. It was wonderful meeting you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kristen.
So much more we could have dove into.
We could go
It was
way
an awesome
longer.
conversation.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah.
I loved the outer and inward talk that we kind of explored, and how outward is a lot about comparison.
In the fringe,
that wall.
just where we kicked it off, talking about visualizing, like seeing what that means, right? The fringe. That's really good. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Peak Podcast. If you want to listen to great guests just like Kristen, make sure to subscribe and put those notifications on. We can't wait to have you along in the next episode, and we'll see you then.
We'll see you guys.